Okay, we are back for another episode of the Breadwinning Women podcast, and I am super psyched today because I have my friend here with me, Kristina Knapp. Welcome to the show, Kristina.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, so today we're going to be talking all things marketing and her journey in business. So let's just jump right into it. Why don't we kick off by talking about Elixir Media, and what you do and who you serve in the marketplace?
Yeah, so we help women entrepreneurs find fun and ease in growing their business online strategically.
Nice. And what kind of services are you providing for people?
Yeah, so we specialize in like short form video creation, which these days looks like Reels and TikToks. And the other half of our business is actually in marketing coaching.
Nice. So Instagram Reels only began in 2020. If I remember correctly, it was probably like the beginning of the year, like February 2020. So like what made you go and like, how did you just decide to like tap? I mean, that's only 2 years ago. Like, how did you decide to tap into that market? Like what inspired you?
Well, we were already offering what we call media creation days, and previous to video just completely taking over the game, that looked like professional photo shoots. And what it also looked like is like user generated content. So we were already doing these kind of like, you could think of them like content days with women, where we would do photos, videos, boomerangs, all of that kind of like in one day. So it was a really, for us anyway, a really seamless transition. Like we already offer social specific type of media. And so when it shifted, we just naturally shifted with it.
And how did you like get up to speed on Reels? I mean, I think one of the things that surprises me so much about marketing is, I mean, and this has always been the case for marketing, that it's like rapidly changing, but it's even more so like as a person myself who, you know, went to undergrad for marketing and had a marketing background. Like even for me, like I feel like, man, the pace of which you have to keep up with, especially with social, like I don't even feel up to speed on everything that it is social. And some things I'm not trying to be up to speed on. So like how did you get up to speed, so quickly in the Reels game to be able to provide these creation days for people?
I mean, honestly, the truth is that my team lives on these apps. And I tell our clients, we live on the apps so you don't have to, right? That's not why you got into business. You didn't go into business to keep up with the trends of influencers and to, spend all your time on Instagram and TikTok. So people hire us because they understand the power of it, right? Their own influence that they can have on it, but they're not interested in devoting literally like the time that we spend on these apps, because by the time that somebody else is reporting it, then we consider ourselves behind, right? We want to be 6 steps ahead of everyone else in the game. And we really have to be with the nature of like not only our coaching but also our real production, right? It's a 6 to 7 week process, so we need to know what's going to be trending a month and a half before it even hits. And there's really no other way to do that but to really be plugged in daily and seeing what's popping up.
Yeah. I think it takes a lot of work. And I mean, you've definitely been a go-to resource for me when it comes to what the heck to do with my social media. So I think it is important to be able to have someone in your corner and an expert who is really like a resident of the apps and studying what the trends are and what's happening in real time to be able to put that into your business. Now, for me and other people, they might feel like, I've talked to friends about Reels, and if they're doing Reels and if they think that's an important part of their business, for some entrepreneurs, it still feels like a luxury, right? To be able to, do Reels. Like, I'm not sure if this is going to have an impact on my bottom line. Tell us from behind the scenes, like, what are you seeing in the marketplace? Like, how have Reels impacted your business, and how are they impacting some of your clients?
Yeah, I mean, there's such a beautiful thing about Reels specifically that was kind of a challenge that we always ran into with marketing, because we've been doing Reels and specializing in them now for a couple years, but we've been in business for 6. And one of the hardest things, and I feel like you know this because you know you have a strong marketing background, is marketing is hard to prove, right? We know for a fact that only 50% of it works, but it's absolutely impossible to tell where that's coming from, right? Because there's so many touch points now. And so, you know, it was almost hard to show like the proof and the ROI before. And now with Reels, it's so like irrefutable that we like there's nothing for us to prove it. We just, you know, people ask us all the time, well, can you show me what your clients have? And it's like, yeah, on average, right? And I say on average, but really, you know, not a single one of our clients has not increased reach by working with us on Reels. Every single one. And that includes, you and I know this, right? When you get into the coaching industry, you got clients who do 1% of what you tell them to do. And even those people who do 1% see an increase, right? When we're doing like our VIP services, you know, where we come out, we plan, we write the copy, we film, whole done for you front to bottom, like those people on average see a 600% increase in reach. That's crazy, especially for that to be organic reach, right? Like there hasn't been anything in the game that has made that type of impact organically thus far, period. So
yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I think reach is really important, especially now in an age where everyone's talking about their engagement down, the algorithm's acting crazy. How do I get in front of my audience? How do I stay in front of my audience? Has become increasingly challenging on all platforms. I mean, specifically Instagram and Facebook. And being able to have some kind of strategy like Reels can definitely help. I'm curious for you, how are people finding you? Like, how do they find out about these Reels creation days? What kind of marketing strategies are you using for yourself in your own business?
yeah, so I would say at least 75% of our new business comes directly from Instagram. Like I just made a really funny video yesterday that I'm not going to sing the song, but there's like this really good money song that's trending right now. And my like caption to it was like, when everyone is saying Instagram's dead, but you're still making multiple six figures off of the gram, like, let's go. Yeah. Like that's where most of our clients find us. It's honestly, I've built my business off of Instagram, and that's how I know that it works, right? Like I wasn't, you know, necessarily afforded the same luxuries that some people have with like connections, you know, and, you know, being put in, you know, the right places at the right time. Like, no, I knew no one when I started my business, and every single client, therefore, that has come through Elixir over the last 6 years, and that's hundreds and hundreds of people, have all come either through Instagram directly through our strategy or from someone else who found us on Instagram.
Yeah. Well, take us a little bit behind the scenes in your strategy. Like, what are you like? Because I see you putting out a lot of reels. They're super cool. If you haven't checked out Elixir Media online, absolutely go check out Kristina's company's Instagram handle. It's super fun and entertaining to watch. And I'd love to hear from you, like, what are you guys doing, like, strategically, because you're constantly making reels? Is your goal like, okay, we're going to put out a new reel 3 times a week? Like, what's some of the strategy behind what you're doing to be able to attract clients online?
Yeah, you know, for me, those type of goals don't excite me. You
Okay.
know, like the, you know, let's hit a certain amount of posts a week. Like to me, I'm like, oh, I'm tired of doing it already. I haven't even started. You know, I think for us, well, not I think. I mean, we have a very uh we have a structure that we follow. And in fact, we've developed it out, and we started to coach and teach people on it, and now we have, you know, a program around it, but it's called the standout method. But really, when you get down to the purpose of this structure, it is to create well-rounded content that connects with people on several different levels. I think one of the biggest mistakes that, you know, my clients come to me with, you know, they're like, I'm showing up online, you know, I'm doing the things, and nothing's really working. And I take a look and I'm like, well, you're really only talking to people about the one way that you can help them, right? It's very it's very businessy, and you know, that type of marketing strategy would have worked maybe 10 years ago. You know, it's a different world now. The way that, you know, consumers and clients, the way that they make their buying decisions is so different than it used to be, right? Like nowadays we're more concerned with who we're giving our money to, and we care about that so much that we're willing to pay the person that we like, the person that we relate to, the person who we can see a little bit of ourselves and who we want to be in. We're willing to pay them 10 times more than anyone else, right? And even stretch our budget because we're really buying, you know, a piece of them. And so I learned this very early on, you know, when diving into social strategy, and was like, oh, okay, so how can I create a system that's repeatable, teachable, and that can work across any industry, that allows people to do this, that allows people to, yes, communicate the things that they you know, want to sell, how to effectively do that so it actually converts, and how to hit people on a deeper level so that you don't have to have, you know, a million one-on-one conversations through your content that you can create. You know, you can kind of hit those touch points, and whether that's, you know, a little superficially on, you know, look, girl, I got my nails done, right? Or connecting them on those deeper core values that have those like mirror neurons, you know, right in the back of our neck, firing off, that makes us, basically, that's the stuff that makes us feel, right? That's the makes the stuff that goes, wow, you know, like I knew I liked her, but like that's my girl. And you know, and when you get them at that place, then you have their loyalty. And then you can charge whatever the fuck you want. They're buying.
Love that. So really tapping into the personality piece, the lifestyle pieces, and what you're showing on social, and not just focusing on the business, but helping to shine through in who you are as a business owner, or who you are as an individual. If you're selling B2B or you're selling B2C, like helping a person to understand the person behind the brand, basically, is part of the strategy that you guys are using.
Yeah, especially when you are a service-based business and you're the face of your business. To me, I mean, there's so many ways to do it. I truly believe that there's infinite ways to do it, but that right there is the one that I've seen proven time and time and time again across all industries. Like if you can get into that like perfect spot, like you're gold, and you will have a consistent stream too, you know, of new clients coming in.
Now, are you guys like just sitting around the office, popping off ideas for what kind of reels you're gonna do? Like, what's your creative process like?
Yeah, so it's actually incredibly systematic. I think like the number one thing I hear from my clients is, oh, once they start working with us, is they're genuinely like shocked and surprised at how professional and structured and planned that we are. You know, because if you go off of our Instagram, yeah, it looks like we're just basically always dancing in the mirror and filming reels 24/7. But the truth is that's actually maybe like 10, less than 10% of what we do. You know, we have a full-time team, and we're continuing to grow. You know, we're hiring again for another full-time team member, and it's, you know, that wouldn't be possible without a hell of a lot of structures and constantly developing new systems. So I would say that we are true believers in the statement that, you know, limitation breeds creativity, right? If we're just trying to kind of be creative all the time, I mean, what the hell would we ever get done? So we have created, I mean, at the core of it, really, with Elixir, we are systems people, right? But we make it fun and we make it sexy, right? And we make it exciting, so you don't want to just like burn it all down after a while. But yeah, so we have system after system after system for every single piece of every process that we do. So with reel creation specifically, you know, we create 3 months worth of content for reels in a single day, right? We shoot it with our clients, but outside of that, again, that planning process actually starts 4 to 5 weeks in advance. And the most important thing to know up front is, you know, strategically, what are we trying to do here? You know, reels can be really fun, and I think they can get it's really easy to get caught up in the likes and the views and the trends and all of that. And that's fun, that's great. And like, again, we are business owners, right?
Mhm.
We're here to do things that move the needle. And so you've got to start with strategy. You've got to start with, of course, who you're talking to, and learn about what they're going through and how you can help them and how you can connect with them, and how to tell your story in a way that people want to retell it,
Mhm.
really. Like, that's where we begin, and then we kind of build the foundation of everything we do off of that.
So like, what's one of the systems that you're using right now that have been successful for you in your own business?
God, girl, one system, just anything.
Yeah, on anything.
um I feel like I should have prepped for that question. We literally, I would say, Jamila, on average, create 2 to 3 systems a day. Like,
So what's
that's how
something that
many.
you've done this week that you're proud of?
Okay. Well, I actually, just before this interview, I wrapped up. It's the 13th of September. Good God, I almost said December. So we're halfway through, and I just wrapped up all of our reels that we'll be posting, and once or twice a day up until the first week of October. So I'm really
So
proud of that system.
wow. So that's just like Elixir internal, the reels that you guys want to be posting as a company,
hmm
you have that. And do you take a full day to record that for yourself? Like, do you use that same process that you use for your clients? Like in one day you're recording like 30 days of content? Like how do you do that for yourself internally?
We very much could. I break it up in smaller chunks. So as far as the filming, so instead of filming like one full long day, like every Friday I take an hour and a half, that's it, 90 minutes, and I can film. This is not normal, don't set your standard to this, but I can film 11 reels in 90 minutes, and I mean, like, with transitions, like all of that. So yeah, I guess the system itself that, again, we've created and we teach our clients how to do to batch is it's exactly that, right? Like, we batch the tasks together. So we start with, again, looking at our goals and saying, okay, if we're making them up for October, what are our October goals? Let's set those first. And then we say, okay, what are we selling? All right, that needs to be our focus. And then after that, we go to, okay, so what do we know, right, from living on the app? What trends do we want to put on this list that we know are going to be trending in a month and a half or so? And then we have this really detailed outline that, again, a template, a system that we've created that we basically just plug and chug. And we put in there everything from how it relates to the thing that we're selling, what type of post, what's the purpose of it, right? Is it a core value that's going to connect us with our audience on a deeper level? Or is it a post that's going to build engagement so we can come in with a sale right after? It's got all of that info in there. And then after that, we go to like the filming of it. So again, 90 minutes, bam, wham, thank you, ma'am, knock it out. And then from there, I'm just literally copying and pasting the copy from the outline.
Nice.
Right? Maybe I'll tweak some things if I'm feeling spicy, but we tend to do all the work up front, and then it's like, with the systems that we've created, which allows us to, and then from there, yeah, it just turns like a well-oiled machine. But it's a system that I developed when I went from being a solopreneur to having a team, because
Mm,
back then I needed a way to say, okay, how do I hand this over to somebody, right? And how do I do it in a place that I take all of my creative genius and give it to someone who may see things differently? And so that's still the system that, of course, we've tweaked over the years. But I mean, with our clients, we see them making, a content calendar for a month in under 5 minutes with this system. It's quick, it's easy to follow. You get in and you get out, because the reality is as business owners, we have so much more important things to be doing with our time and to have on our plate than spending day to day being content creators.
Yeah. So I'm curious about, for someone who's like, this sounds amazing, Kristina, like they've, they've checked out your page. They're like, listen, I see the benefit and how this could be impactful in them trying to implement reels in their business. Where can a person, just get started in terms of like getting their feet wet with really having a reels strategy for their business?
Yeah, I would say for me, before we even look at strategy, let's just look at dipping our toes, right? Let's get started with comfortability. And for that, I literally say, go find a reel, find a TikTok that that you like, right? That you get that feeling where it lit you up a little bit and you're like, yeah, I could do that. And just start with that one. Right. Like you can recreate it. I suggest picking something very, very simple. If you're a person who's like, no, Kristina, like I'm not spending any time on these apps, just give me something I can do, then I always suggest what I call a graphic reel. So, most of us are on Canva if we're on social, right? We've got that app downloaded, like, right? We can assume that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
so. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm like, if you're not, girl, go get it. It's
Right. Get
free.
on Canva.
Yeah, get on Canva. And you can actually, so they have templates for stories, which is the same ratio that you need for reels themselves. So go in there, find one of the stories um, that you like the font. That's all you need. And then go ahead and type in like your to-do list, right? So whatever you're working on today in your office, your home, wherever. And then what I want you to do is to take your phone, put it on time lapse. If you're on an iPhone, the time lapse, you just swipe to the left when you're on photo and video. If you have an Android or a Google phone, you'll have to download a time lapse app. I'm not going to throw shade. That's just how it is. Okay. And then set it up on your desk and take a time lapse of you just going away at your computer. That's it. And then you take that video and you upload it as a background. You literally just click the background and this button comes up. It says replace, click it, replace it with a time lapse. And now you have your own customized reel with your to-do list on it. And that to me, like that's the simplest way to start. It's a really easy way, and the great thing, the to-do list is a power move. Okay. Jamila, that people they don't understand. Okay. The thing about a to-do list, what I love about to-do lists is it subtly sells your service without people feeling like it's salesy, right?
Mhm.
Like a to-do list, if you do it correctly. So the one thing I'll say, whatever service you want to sell more of, make sure that's at the top of your to-do list, right? That in a subtle way communicates to people, hey, this is something that I do and you can actually pay me for it, right? And then on the other hand of that, what it feels and looks like to your clients isn't like this, like, oh, here she go again trying to sell me something. What it feels like is, oh, that's so cool. I didn't know that she did that in a day,
Yeah.
right? Look, at the end of it, if we're on social, we nosy. That just is what it is, right? And we know people are nosy. So they always want to know what you're up to, right? And by strategically putting that thing at the top, again, it's such a great way to show up, a really easy reel to create, and really for the amount of effort that you put in, if once you do it more than once, you're really just switching out the words. That's it.
Yeah, I love that. We've been getting busy with our to-do lists lately, so
Yeah.
it's been fun to see people engaging on that a bit. So I think it is a really cool strategy for people that are looking to get started with doing reels or showing up consistently in some way without always needing to be on camera. You can use a great picture of yourself over the to-do list. It doesn't always have to be like something live and in the moment. So it's a really great tip, Kristina. So let's talk about this team of yours and like take us behind the scenes, like who's on your team right now and what has it been like for you as a business owner to go from being a solopreneur to being this leader of a team and stepping into your CEO role?
Yeah. Gosh, it has definitely been a process. It's definitely been a journey. I will say, a year and a half ago, I was not a good leader. Just being straight up, I saw it in the uh In a lot of ways in my business. I saw it in the service. I mostly saw it on, internally, of course. And at the time, I saw it as like, oh, I just can't find the right people, which, partly true. I wasn't picking them. I wasn't picking them correctly. I was picking them based off of, I spent some time working for Michael Kors, and one of my responsibilities there was to build teams. And I was picking them in a very corporate manner, right? And in a very masculine manner, so to speak. I was looking at their resumes and what skills they had coming on, and if they answered these interview questions perfectly. And yeah, and about a year and a half ago, I really had a breakdown moment where I was really ready to just burn down the business. I'm sure a few of us can relate to that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm gonna burn it down.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had reached that point, and I was working with, my life coach, Crystal, and at the time she was just like, well, what if you just became a great leader? Girl, I'm sure you can imagine the eye roll for me, like stuck in the back of my head, like, oh, okay, but after I dropped the attitude, and considered it honestly as an option, because that's the first step, right? We don't talk about that a lot as entrepreneurs, but there's so many things that will hold you back, and the biggest one will be you and what you consider to be an option and what you don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so once I was able to consider it an option that I could just become a great leader, and I started to show up as one, I mean, everything changed. Everything changed in business, everything changed in even the relationship that I have with my own business and with my team. And, the thing I care about most, how much joy I get from having a team. Before, it felt like a team was a necessary thing that I needed to grow to the next level and to scale. And now I would say that a huge part of my purpose and the thing that brings me joy out of my business is my team.
Yeah. So who's on your team now? Like, how many people do you have on your team?
Yeah, so we just had someone transition out, so that's why we're hiring for a full-time person. Just not a good fit. So we usually have 5. We have 5 people. So yeah.
And what kind of roles are they in?
So for us, we have they're basically split between either our media creation, which is like the Reels department, where that's the done for you service, and then between our educational department, which is like the coaching service and the training. So we've got 2 on each side, and basically we have 4 levels of roles. We have, we start with our support. And then from there we go to coordinators, and from there we go to directors, and then from there we go to like CEO, CMO, CFO, all of that stuff. Room to grow there. Right now we've got 1 CEO, but soon we'll be having a CMO and a CFO and every letter of the alphabet.
Yeah. What do you think are like 3 things you did that really helped you to step into your role as a leader? Like, what 3 things shifted in you, or how did you start showing up differently?
I have a huge philosophy about life that just continues to expand and grow with every, year. Sometimes it feels like with every month, and that is truly that there is no rules to this thing, and once I realized that, oh yeah, that also applies to leadership, right? I don't have to be the type of leader that I was expected to be in corporate. And I don't have to follow those same rules. Once I realized that, again, that's when everything opened for me. And so the first thing I started to do was just like, okay, well, I don't know that I necessarily have any, quote unquote, great leaders, or not the type of leader that I wanted to be, in direct contact with. So I got to work. look, I ordered me some books and I fucking read them, right? And I listened to podcasts, and then I started to talk to people, and just really kind of went into research mode, right? Like bringing it back to the basics. And I think that's something that, like, that, everything is figure outable, right? Like, we have so much knowledge at our fingertips. That type of attitude has gotten me so far in life, and let alone business. And now it is a strong requirement for anyone who comes on the team. You have to have a everything is figure outable attitude. So yeah, so I read some really great books. And I treat everything like a buffet. I think before, I used to look at, a single person or a single thing and be like, oh, this is the way I have to do it. And now I look at it like, oh, I get to make my own recipe for leadership.
Yeah.
Right. And I took, one of the things I took on early on, and where I was like, oh, this is for me, right? This is so out of the box. This is definitely for me, is, we don't have any rules at Elixir. We have standards, right? Because one book I read was talking about how, like, you will lock yourself in, and you will kill the creativity and, everything, extraordinary about your top performers by creating rules that you made for the bottom 3%. So we really don't have, any rules. We just have standards, and people who hit those standards, they stay. And I'm also very quick to let people go when they're not meeting the standard, and when I'm having to constantly explain what the standard is. And because for me, that's a huge energy leak that I honestly, like, I just don't have time for.
Yeah.
Again, we have so many other things on our plate. So that's something that, yeah, we adopted very early on, and is continues to serve us really well.
Yeah. What's one of your standards that you're proud of or excited about?
I would say I can go with a really small one, that is just fun and great for company culture, is that our standard for, because we have a physical office, we have, my team physically comes in to work. We don't have any remote people. So different people, different styles, we're wearing some different things, and I really love to cultivate autonomy here, right? I can't imagine a world where, I was put into a box and said, this is what I got to look like, this is what I got to show up as. And that's something I'm really proud of. So one of the ways we do that is, like, so our dress code, if you will, is cute brunch. Right? Like the standard is, like, if you wouldn't wear it to brunch with your girlfriends, like, don't wear it here.
Yeah.
Right? Just don't wear it here. And sometimes, and that I think, again, limitations to breed creativity, because everyone puts their own spin on it. Everyone wears something they're comfortable in. Sometimes people come in with blazers and a full fucking suit, and I'm like, power it up, girlfriend. And other days it's like, a really cute, crop top with some paper bag pants. Like, it allows, again, like, the freedom for us to be who we are, and also keep things elevated, so to speak.
Yeah, I love that. That's so fun. So you recently had one of your biggest months in business. What was that like? And what do you think well, first, let me ask you, what was it like?
Yeah. It became my biggest challenge, which was so unexpected for me. It was so unexpected. We talk about this sometimes, you and I, Jamila, about how, like, it would be great if things were just always easy, right? And I think one of the expectations of hitting your biggest months, making a lot of money, is like, oh, that's when things are going to be easy, right?
Yeah.
That's when we can sit back and chill. And the truth of the matter is after I came down from a very short-lived high, right? Like, oh my God, we did it. This is so crazy. Then it was like a scarcity set in of, like, how am I going to be able to do this again?
Oh my God.
Am I going to be able to do this again? Right? Like, and then it was suddenly like I was falling down this rabbit hole of scarcity and fear off of having our biggest month we've ever had in business. I mean, this is double what we used to make in a year. You know what I mean? And so yeah, in that way, of course, it was glorious. We celebrated, and then shortly after that, I had to really look carefully and evaluate my relationship with money, my safety and security from a certain number, right? That made me feel good. If as long as I have this certain amount in the bank account, like, we're fine.
Yeah.
And so I started to really do, the work that came with that, so that, I want to feel great. I want to feel great if I have, $1 million, or if I have 50. And I'm the type of person that I can, material things are really fun and exciting to me, but when I think about the moments that I'm happiest in life and I feel truest to myself, and I feel like, I am so filled to the brim with gratitude that, like, how could this be my amazing life? It's not doing anything with those expensive and material things. It's, for me, it's, sitting on a beach with my family and losing track of time. That, to me, is my life's greatest joy. And knowing that about myself, again, I had to really create safety within myself, not within money, and not within, a certain amount in my bank account. And that's some of the, as someone who grew up very poor, I mean, Burger King was a once a month treat poor, and shifting into this, place of wealth, let's just say it what it is. It's that's been some work.
Yeah. So share, Kristina, with the audience, like, what you did for your biggest month, because I want people to really understand, like, you're not playing marketing, you're doing marketing, you're doing serious marketing for people that's transformational and it's changing lives and businesses.
Mm-hmm. And we make it play.
Yeah. And you make
right?
it fun.
And we make
Absolutely.
it fun. Yeah. So you said, share what we did.
Yeah. Your biggest month.
Like the number? Is that what you
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We did 90K.
Yeah.
In 1 month. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. And you're saying that you grew up, right? You come from a Filipino family,
Mm-hmm.
saying that you grew up, with, not having a trust fund handed to you or any of that, right? Like,
Yeah.
what did that mean for you in terms of, like, from a cultural background, and, like, being able to stand out as a woman of color that's making that kind of money in her business?
Yeah. It's I'll be honest, part of it, I love so much what I do. I am being intentional now about stopping and thinking about these things, because it's kind of like you read about people who do this, first whatever, and their first person in their family to go to college, first person in their family to be a doctor, right? And the realization hit me just this past weekend as I was standing in my parents' house, that I will be the first millionaire in my family. And that's so fucking crazy. That's so crazy, because sometimes, honestly, like I said, I'm just doing something that I love to do. And honestly, it comes from a place of, it's not an option for me anymore to go back to work for someone else. Like, I am not hireable, right? Like, and so yeah, it's I think it gives me such a different perspective of pure gratitude. And I'm even more proud of myself. I'm not knocking anyone who has a trust fund. I'm not knocking anyone who has been giving the connections and who went to the right high school, so they just built their business off of all their high school friends. Because trust me, I see a lot of that going on. I'm like, damn, if only I had it that easy, right? But honestly, it makes me really proud. It makes me really proud that, like, I've built this from nothing. And I think that that's so empowering, right, to other women of color. And our team is all women of color at this point, not certainly not on purpose, so to speak, but that's who we are, and that's what we're really proud of. And our main, women that we work with are other women of color. And I think that they're just, yeah, there's a huge level of empowerment, and also I think a known level of grit that you have to have. This is not an easy journey by any means. You really have to be willing to stick with it. You really have to, for the long run sustainability of your happiness and for your business, you have to learn how to love the lows as much as you love the highs. And God, I mean, if that isn't work, then I don't know what is.
Yeah. 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 I love that. And I think it's so important to be able to like take those moments and realize like the impact that we're having, because that's what can keep you going when you have those like, you know, those days that just feel like
Mhm.
they're hard and you're not sure, you know, what's going to happen next. You got the strategy and the plan in place, but things don't always go as planned. And so it's just remembering, right? Like the representation of what you're doing is tremendous, like as a woman, for your family, as a mom, as a wife, like all
Yeah.
the things, right? It's really life changing,
Yeah.
the example that you are setting.
Can I share something with you that nobody except for my immediate family and my team knows? I just haven't told anybody. Um, while we're on this topic, I'm a deeply empathic person. I really feel a lot, and especially since becoming a mother, God, it's like that has gone way up, right? It's done both. It's gone way up for just like, humanity, and especially for children, and on the other hand, it's gone way down for people who I'm just like, I don't give a fuck about. I'm just like, I really don't give a fuck now. And so this year, it's always been a dream of mine to, I thought, oh, when I retire one day, I want to start a children's home. That's what I want to do. I want to help, these kids who really don't have a chance. I grew up partially in Asia. I'm very much American, but when I was 10, we started going there every summer. And specifically to the Philippines. And some of my earliest memories are of these kids, who, and my mom would explain to me, we would go to McDonald's, right? And there would be all these kids outside, and I would want to give them money, of course, and my mom would tell me, no, you can't give them money because, a gangster is waiting around the corner. He's really taking all their money. It'll just basically support, trafficking is what it was. And that was a lesson, I had to learn as a 10-year-old. And I would watch them and I would feel so guilty, right? Eating my chicken nuggets, and they would be, like this, hands up on the windows looking in. And I would ask my mom, well, if we can't give them money, can we buy them food that they eat right now, right? Like the gangsters can't take the food, the cheeseburgers, if they eat it now. And she was like, yes, we can do that. And I actually, that moment, stayed with me, and really just has looked like different things throughout my life. And I I wanted to really make an impact. So I went to school for economics because I was hell bent on saving the world, right? I was like, I'm going to figure out a way that we can bring third world countries and bring them up into first world countries. And I'm going to solve the world. I'm going to bring on world peace. And, like one thing led to another. Life takes us down different paths. And so, very long story short, I have been thinking, like, okay, I'm not in the game of waiting until I'm, in my 70s. I want to make an impact now. And so this year we actually we don't have a name for it yet, but we started a foundation, and our goal is to build schools like in third world countries. We're not there yet, so I'm like, okay, again, baby steps, we can make an impact now. And so we actually just donated enough, like we were calling them kind of like ready packs. They have essentials in them, right? They have things like socks, right? Kids don't have those, toothbrushes, even sandwiches and things like this, these backpacks for a school. And we found a great school to work with there that had about 500 students, and we provided every single student in that school with a backpack. And
Wow.
Yeah, my family in the Philippines actually delivered it, and they just the other day sent me all the photos and videos, and I'm like crying, and I call my mom and she's crying, and she's like, "Thank you for helping my people." My mom is so funny. Um, but yeah, and again, right? I think that when we come from these, different backgrounds, you don't have to make millions to have an impact. I mean, these kids will probably very likely still be using these same items for the next at least 5 years, and that's just one thing that, again, I haven't really shared it with anyone. I'm not really sure yet how to. It just feels so close to my heart. But yeah, it's we can change lives in so many different ways.
Yeah, I love that. And thank you for sharing it with me. I'm so excited for you. One of the
Yeah.
things that I think is really related to your success, Kristina, is that you take action on the things that are important to you. Like something like puts a fire up under you, or you get excited about something and you just go and you just like do it
Yeah.
and make it happen. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but you just like go and make it happen. So it wasn't a surprise to me that literally, I'm trying to remember, we were together in March.
Yeah.
And then a few months, and I'm telling you about my biggest month in business, and wasn't surprising me a few months later, you're having your biggest month in business. Like, like you just go and like make things happen. And so I think that it really speaks to why you have been so successful in your business and all of the success that is yet to come. So it's amazing that you've been able to take this inspiration that you have and
Mhm.
desire for making a difference for children in your home country and doing something about it. Like you don't have to wait until you hit those millions and millions of dollars to make the impact. You're a sign that we can absolutely do it now. So I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a key mindset that I have here that I think, well, not that I think a lot of my clients come to me with and we kind of work through, but has been quintessential to be able to take action so quickly, right? Like I pride myself as the biggest action taker, right? Like I just, you're right. I just go, and in that is a willingness to grow messy, and a willingness and an openness for people to see me grow messy. That right there, most people, especially as women, and everything that we've been told about how perfect we need to be, right? And we need to constantly, be this whatever this is. It's always, a box for somebody. And what I find is most of our clients come to me and they want to know, how do I get out of this box, right? How do I stop these thoughts about like it has to be perfect before it can go out there? It has to be complete even before it goes out there. I would say 95% of the things that we sell aren't even made yet. They're just an idea that I've had, and I see if we can sell them first, and then I start to build it, honestly, once we've sold it, right?
Yeah.
So I think this, again, just like openness and true vulnerability to allow people to see you be messy in your growth. And what always surprises people is that people fucking love it. They love it because they love realness, right? And they like to see like, oh, okay, there actually is some struggle in this. It's not, it's not this perfectly tied bow, right? Like we're over the perfectly tied bow. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
2005.
Yeah. I think that's a real gem because I think a lot of us are willing or have come to grips with the fact that business is messy, right? Like you're not an entrepreneur achieving at any level of success if you haven't realized that the shit is messy, right?
Yes.
But like the difference of deciding to show your mess, right, is a whole another level. So I love that you said that, like just being I love the saying that Lisa Nichols has, and it's nothing to hide, nothing to prove, nothing to protect. And that's really what it's about, especially when it comes to how you show up in your marketing, right? It's like nothing to hide, nothing to prove, nothing to protect. I'm just going to show up as me, who I am, you know, the messiness of how I am on a daily basis, and being okay with that, I think is really something that we can all aspire to step into more.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Kristina, I'd love to wrap with asking you, what does it mean to you to be a breadwinning businesswoman?
Ooh, hold on. You're going to have to edit this part. Let me think. What is it? I feel like, girl, I should have taken some time and thought about this because the shit that's about to come out of my mouth.
Just say it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I just love being a bad bitch. I just love it. I love being a breadwinner in my family. You know what I mean? There's such a pride, and even, you know, my husband has such a pride, but he'll shout it from the rooftops, you know, I make so much more money than him. And it just feels so empowering, right? And especially, you know, coming from the background that I've come from, you know, breaking and doing it in a way that I'm breaking every rule that they tell you have to do to make money. Like, that to me is something that is part of, you know, my legacy, and you know what I hope, you know, impacts people on every level. Is just that, like, again, there are no rules to this thing. And I think being able to be a breadwinner and live by that so, you know, so strongly in every aspect of my life, it's yeah, it's good to be a badass bitch.
Love it. Well, thank you so much, Kristina, for being on the show. It's been amazing to have this chat with you, and I'm so thankful for our friendship, and I'm excited to see you continue to grow and flourish at what you do.
Thank you, and the same to you always.
Be a breadwinner, you can be a breadwinner. Girl, go and get that, you can achieve that. Be a breadwinner, you can be a breadwinner. Girl, go and get that, you can achieve that. Daily success, daily success. Plan a week ahead, be excellent. Be a breadwinner, you can be a breadwinner. Girl, go achieve your goals. Transform your life, one routine at a time. Daily success, daily success. Go and get yours. You better go get yours. Be a breadwinner, you can be a breadwinner. Girl, go and get that, you can achieve that. Be a breadwinner, you can be a breadwinner. Girl, go and get that, you can achieve that.